Good morning, everyone. Hi, it is Stacy. We are loving my veteran, and this is walking in my shoes this morning. I'm gonna get some coffee in as we get started. Make sure I turn the ringer of the phone off because you know it never works if I don't, because I always forget. All right, I hope everyone is having an amazing Wednesday. Um, we're gonna work on our series on communication today. We always have a lot when it comes to this. Communication seems to be a big issue. It is a big issue for me and in our house as well. Um, so I need to address that. When I do, when I talk about it, it tends to help me as well. So we're not perfect at what we do. So communication is a big deal for me. Um, Wanted to talk about that. There's a lot that I have that we need to talk about. Starting this week, happy hump day, darling. Starting this week, Let's Talk, our online support group on Thursday nights, has a new link. The only way you can access that link is to be a member of one of our groups. So you either have to be in Loving My Veteran Living with PTSD group or in our Vet Connect group. When you are a member there, you will be able to get the link to go to Let's Talk. So the old Let's Talks no longer work. Good morning, Sarah Kim. Just wanted to put that out there for everybody. So we're doing that. Do not forget, today is Wednesday. It is coffee, conversation, and collaboration with our friends at Behind the Service Podcast. And I'm going to rely on our dear friend Sarah Kim to please put that link, because you do it so well, Sarah, um, on our group for us so that we can do that, because you're really good at that. And I don't always remember to do that. Well, I have to find it in my history. So Sarah Kim will take care of that for us. Please, I'm putting you on the spot, darling. Thank you. She'll do that for us. The videos have not been going live to Facebook. We have gone back to YouTube. We have gone back to doing them on Facebook, and I've spoke to Sarah Kim, and she's going to fix that later this week and get all of our stuff on YouTube where it belongs. So just throwing that out there for everybody. And tonight is Wednesday night. Stephanie does Wellness Wednesday at about 6:30, so don't forget to join us for that. Now, we have all that behind us. Let's move forward. Communication. Communication, communication, communication. We cannot set appropriate boundaries if we do not learn to communicate. We cannot do this if we do not learn to communicate. I'm having a hard time with communication right now because it always works this way for us. It always does. We'll talk about a topic. Michelle and I usually talk about a topic, or me and somebody will talk about a topic, and then that topic becomes what we're going to talk about on Walking in My Shoes. And when we do this, then it always ends up being very relevant to exactly what's going on. So I just wanted to put that out there. Today is, does my butt look fat in these jeans? That's the name of it, and I think it's something that we've done from the time we were little, with young women especially. We'd ask our friends, "Oh, do you like these pants? Do they look good? Does it make my butt look big? Does it do this? How about this? Are my boobs in the right place?" I mean, we ask this question, right? And no matter how ugly the outfit is, our friends are like, "Oh no, you look beautiful. Oh no, you look great. Oh no, this is perfect. No, this makes you look fabulous." And it's the most hideous thing we ever wore. And they're like, "No, you look fine in it." Look, I want somebody who's going to be honest with me and say, "Yes, my butt looks fat in these jeans." Well, we don't do that. We always just say, when people say, "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm great." And no, we're not great. And we end up doing that, especially in our relationships with our friends and our family, and more so in our relationships with our veterans. "Are you okay?" And we say yes. And I'm not okay. And so there are times, and this morning was one of them, and we'll finish it up when I'm done with this. This morning is one of those times I was not okay with something, and I always say I'm okay, and I didn't say what I was not okay with for days, and it stayed bottled up inside of me, and then it comes out like vomit, like we've just like shot something out of a cannon, and it is wrong. And the exact words, Michelle and I had this conversation like an hour ago, the exact words Carl used to me was, "You've been lying to me all this time." So when you're not honest about, does your butt look fat in these jeans? You are lying to them. When you lie, you can't communicate. When you lie, you create seeds of doubt. When you lie, that happens. And we don't realize it. We do this and we do these things and we say these things because we want to not hurt a veteran, or we don't want to hurt other people's feelings, or we don't want to tell our family that, hey, you're driving me crazy, or we don't tell our friends I'm overwhelmed. People don't want to hear that necessarily. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, you're in a partnership with them. Those are the one people you should be able to let your guard down and say everything to, and we do it all the time. Your veteran may say, are you okay today? And you're like, yep, I'm fine. And are you really fine? No, you're not really fine. All this stuff is weighing upon you. Or you'll ask your veteran, hey, you okay? Yep, I'm good. I'm good. And the thing is that we say that and nothing in between comes out, and we're really not good. We're really not fine. We're really feeling overwhelmed. We're really pushing our feelings behind. We really are doing these things. And so all this time, we're lying. And the thing that, good morning, Nakia, the thing that Michelle says is that we have to understand this. It is okay not to be okay. So we set these expectations for our veteran, right? We want them to know that it's okay not to be okay. We want them to understand that it's okay not to be okay. Then we don't understand, oh, why are we going to the doctor and why are we getting this pill? Because we want to be normal, because we want to be okay. And we're creating this spiral because when somebody says, how are you? We say we're okay. We're fine, because that's the society we live in. We live in this society that it is okay or expected to be fine. We don't live in a society where we are expected to say, I'm struggling today. Okay, we don't live in that society. We live in this society where we're expected to be okay. And if we're not okay, we either fake it till we make it, or we take a pill to fix it. And so when we do those things, it all comes crashing down upon us. It all comes crashing down upon us when we do that and we get overwhelmed. We're saying we're okay and we're not okay. You know, I was sharing some pictures, and I'll put them in the group later. I was sharing some pictures with Michelle this morning about, my personal weight loss journey. And, for those of you who don't know, I was 320 pounds, 5'4" and 320 pounds. And I was sharing these pictures. And here's the truth. The truth is that when I wasn't 320 pounds and when I was starting to gain weight, and I said to people, hey, does my ass look fat in these jeans? Oh, no, you look beautiful. You look good. Okay, if somebody would have said, Stacy, your ass is fat in those jeans because your ass is fat, I'm not blaming them for gaining the weight. I probably would have been a little more receptive of, oh my God, you're gaining the weight, or a little more aware of, oh my God, you're gaining this weight. And I probably would have done something different early on before, because I didn't go from 140 pounds to 320 pounds overnight. It was a process. And that's what happens in our relationships when people say, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. And that's what happens is we say we're good and we're really not good. And we keep pushing that feeling down and pushing that feeling down and pushing that feeling down. And one day we wake up and we're 320 pounds. And that's what happens because we create deceit and we create lies and we create this by saying, I'm fine. And you cannot communicate effectively if you're not communicating. And the people, we also find this. I can talk to my friends, and I do sometimes. Now, Carl and I talk about a lot of things, and I do explode when I shouldn't. This morning was one of them. We talk about a lot of things, but there's a lot of times I bounce it off my friends first. And that is, when now I look back on it, that's probably wrong. This man is my partner in life. He is it. And utilize the analogy of playing doubles tennis, okay? I had to find something that my brain wrapped around. But utilize the analogy of playing doubles tennis. When you're playing doubles tennis, one person does not run back and forth and hit the ball on both sides of, on one half of the net, but they don't hit the ball on both sides of the court. That's why there's a line drawn up there, like this is your side and this is your side. When you watch the Williams sisters play together, they don't keep crossing over into each other. And they communicate whether or not they're going to hit the ball. Think about it when you play baseball. It goes to the outfield and it's going between right field and center field. And both people are running towards it, right? Because both of them know, I have to do this. And when they don't communicate, I've got it, and let the other one take a step back, the ball falls between them and they both look at the darn ball and then they look at each other like, why didn't you handle it? And that's what happens when we don't communicate. Or they see the ball going and they're like, hey, look, I'm in center field and it's going more to right field, so I'm going to let the right field guy handle it. And nobody pays attention to the right field guy has done twisted his ankle and fallen, so he's not getting the ball. But that comes from that mentality of I'm fine, it's your job, you handle it, you do it, and we don't communicate and therefore things fall apart. It is no more than telling a lie. It is no different than being deceitful. And then we wonder why we don't communicate. Right, Melissa, I'm tired of handling everything too. I do it all the time. I did it all the time. And I'm having my bigger struggle is that Carl will do whatever, and I tend not to let him. We were talking about that this morning, I remember going to EMT school. This was years ago. I remember going to EMT school. And I worked 11 to 7 at night on the overnight shift. I got off work at 7. I flew home. My kids were teenagers. And my ex-husband was home with them at night. I made sure that they were up and headed off to school and doing their thing. Then, lo and behold, there's like dishes and laundry and vacuuming and stuff that needed to be done. I just worked 8 hours. So what did I do? I did the dishes and the laundry and vacuumed, and miraculously their football uniforms were clean. Their stuff was ready for them to go the next day. That was all the stuff that was out there that I had to do. Then 3 days a week, and then I would get up and study because I was in EMT school. My ex-husband went to EMT school with me and he had a harder time reading. So we kind of sat there and went over stuff and studied together. Then I went to EMT class at night. So my kids would come home from school or in between ball practice, and I'd get their stuff. If they didn't come home in between ball practice, I'd ride up to the school and see them because, like I said, they were a little older. And I would do that. I'd have all their dinner done. Everything would be handled, and I'd run off to school. And I went to school from like 7 to 10. And I would get in the car right at 10 o'clock and I would drive to my job that started at 11 that was an hour away. Okay? It was an hour away. So what did I do? I took all that on myself. And then people said, how are you? I'm fine. That became my answer. See the little smile? I am fine. Not, I'm tired as crap. Somebody needs to get off their ass and help me. I'm drowning. I'm overwhelmed. My answer was, I'm fine. Hey, Mom, can you do this? Yes, I got that. Don't ask me when I'm going to find time, but I've got that. And that would be my answer. And then you don't understand why things get to the point they get to because we're not always fine. And not spitting that out and not saying that creates this doubt. We become super women. We think we can deal with it all, right? Many times enabling subtracts expectations. Oh, girl, it does. It does. So we do all this stuff and we have this, I'm fine because that's what society expects. And all the while, your ass is getting fatter in them jeans. Whether it's literally or figuratively. and you are getting exhausted and you look like crap and you feel like crap and you just don't know how to motivate through and all these lies and stuff, and you can't keep boundaries because people are walking all over you, and you're not having an honest communication with your spouse because you're lying about the fact that you're fine and you're not fine. How many times has somebody said to you, hey, can you do this? This needs to be handled. Can you do this? And you're like, yep, I got it. I have time for this. And you don't have time for that at all. You barely have time to breathe. I can remember there being times that I didn't even have time to pee. Right? And then you get, yep, I can do that. When? Are you okay with that? Yep, I'm fine with that. So we say, I'm fine with that. Instead of saying, no, I'm not fine with that, and my ass is getting fat in them jeans. We don't do that. It is a lie. It is doubt. It is a seed of doubt. He just said that to me today because I dumped on him, and he said, why have you told me you were fine all this time? Have you been lying to me? Yeah, I have. Not meaning to be lying to him, but telling him I'm okay and telling him I'm fine. And I always think he's talking about physically, and he's not always. It's mentally. But the other side of the coin is this. The other side of the coin is this. Don't ask somebody if they're okay if you don't have time to listen to them tell you they're not. Don't ask somebody what's wrong. You can't say, hey, what's wrong? And because we become accustomed to when you go to somebody, hey, Stacy, what's wrong? Nothing. Okay, then we can move on. But when you're on this honest communication, when you say, hey, what's wrong? They need to be honest and start listing the things out, and you need to shut up and listen. And we don't do that. We don't do that. We're like, okay, move on, move on, move on, move on, move on. And so what that's creating is the seeds of doubt, a dysfunctioning situation. We're trying to play both sides of, trying to the single, like a singles tennis match when it should be a double tennis match. And as partners in a relationship, when one of us has had a weaker moment, the other one picks up the slack. But it should be a both thing. And we can't do that if we don't tell them, hey, I'm weak today. We're sitting here with this, I do everything. I'm tired of doing everything. But what do? We'll use the dishwasher analogy. We get them, hey, can somebody load the dishwasher? Okay. We're going to load the dishwasher. And then they load it, and we don't like the way they load it, so we reload it, so why should they bother? Right? I mean, and we've laughed about that. That's been kind of like our little running joke among a few of us, is the whole dishwasher. And Nikita goes, I finally learned the concept of telling my Richard, I will get that done just as soon as I finish taking this moment for me. It wasn't my Richard not giving me my moment in time. It was me not taking it. Amen. And that's where the problems lie. See, that's where the situations become, because we're not honest. When she said, and she had to learn the concept to say, I'll get you that, but I have to do this first. I have to take care of me first. I have to do this first. This is something that has to be done right now. Okay, this is something we need to deal with today. This is something that's going on that is my urgency at this moment. This is what I have going on. And when we don't say that, we are being dishonest. And when we are dishonest, we create these seeds of doubt, and we create a relationship that is built on dishonesty. When people ask, when the surveys are asked, what are the things you want from a marriage? The things you want from a marriage: love, respect, honesty. Top 3 things. Top 3 things. Love, respect, and honesty. Top 3 things. Well, let me tell you something. You don't get respect if you're not honest. I don't know who respects the dishonest guy. We don't. We don't respect people who are not honest. And we had a situation yesterday come up. We were all kind of talking about the situation. We realized there was a lot of dishonesty going on. And all of a sudden, every one of us lost respect for the dishonest. So you don't respect people you're not honest with. So if your top 3 things are love, respect, and honesty, and you're not being honest because you're saying I'm fine and you're really not, you've just lost the respect. Okay? You've just lost the respect. So that's how that goes. That's how that works. And Sue says, teamwork is what I want. And that's beautiful. And we do want that. But you can't just say things like, I want teamwork. What specifically do you want? Because when you say, I want teamwork, I mean, think about this. We'll go back because I don't know why I'm on a sports analogy all of a sudden. But you can have, depends on the thing, an offense in football is 11 players. A defense in football is 11 players that can be on the field at any one given time. Okay? So an average football team is 44 players. That allows for your second string and your third team and all that stuff to come in. So it's 44 players. All 44 players are not playing the ball game at the same time. So if you want to move the ball down the field, you need to have the backup sitting there on the bench that can be able to encourage or go forward. But when you talk about teamwork, but who is really the one out there moving the ball? You don't want teamwork. You want to get from this point to this point. What is the objective and how do you get there? Because when you say, I want teamwork, you might be honest in that theory, but you're not clear and completely honest in what you want because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. So we say, I want teamwork. I want teamwork. And I just had this conversation like in the last 15, well, it's been 25 minutes now because we literally ended it as I walked in here and it wasn't finished. We had this conversation that I had certain expectations that Carl wasn't doing, not because he didn't want to, because I wasn't clear on him. So what does it create? It creates lies. It creates seeds of doubt. It creates trust issues. It ruins the partnership that we have going on. We've broken down where we are because of the words I'm fine and I'm not clear in why I'm not fine. I'm not clear in why I'm not fine. He's not clear with me in why he's not fine because the words he uses to me is I suck it up. Well, stop sucking it up and tell me what's wrong. You want communication on both sides. That's how it works. And when we don't do that, we're not getting it. Yes, good communication, I guess, will lead to better teamwork. Half the time, I don't know what is going on and where the help is needed. Create this communication. So if in your situation, Sue, if she's not communicating with you well, literally this in the morning, and she's not the greatest morning person. When is a good time for her? Or at night before y'all do your thing, say, hey, what do you need me to do for you tomorrow? Specific. What do you need me to do for you tomorrow? Specific. See, the problem with Carl and I is we stopped communicating. We stopped effective communicating. I got busy, he got busy, I got this, he got this, and we broke down the communication barrier. This communication just went to shit. And when the communication goes to shit, the boundaries go to shit. So you can't create boundaries if you don't learn to communicate. We can set all the boundaries till hell freezes over. But if we don't communicate how and what they are, and we don't communicate those boundaries, we don't communicate where we need to be, then what happens? And you know, I gave him a list. We were talking about things that we needed to do. We needed to clip the chicken's wings. We needed to add some more fencing to the chicken pen. We needed to do that. And we make this list of things we need to do. And then the very next breath, I'm like, I'm really busy today. I've got to do this and this and this and this. And then he's like, well, what the fuck about the stuff we already needed to do? We're not communicating. We're not communicating. And then, are you okay with this? Look, I really need to do this today. Are you okay with this? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Is he really fine with it? No. Am I really fine with it? No. But we don't say it because we're afraid that we're going to get into it. And then what happens? We get into it in an explosion that never should have happened if we would have been communicating from the beginning by not saying, I'm fine. And so Nakia's response to Sue was, you know what you want. A corporation has a team meeting so the team can be working together on the same page. Have a team meeting on a set schedule discussing how to accomplish the goals before you. Amen. Amen. And that's something that Carl and I are fixing to have. We used to spend all this time communicating in the morning. We used to... Often I'll say we're having two different conversations. Probably not helpful. Amen. I'm with you. Carl and I used to talk every single morning over coffee and a cigarette. And it could be a 20-minute conversation or it could be an hour and a half long conversation. And then I started doing this at 9. Well, when I started doing this at 9 and he slept later because he's up later and doesn't sleep, we kind of totally got off kilter and our time kind of went away. It kind of went away. And so when that happened, the communication started falling apart and it becomes, are you okay with this? And he's like, yes, I'm fine. Or I'll say, yes, I'm fine. Or when something goes wrong and we don't finish it, he's like, I'll suck it up. Now, we need to stop sucking it up. We need to be honest in our communication. And we failed at that today. We failed at that today. Because the reality is, my ass looked fat in those jeans. And I couldn't see it. And I wasn't communicating very well. And that leads us to being able to set boundaries. You know, communication is more than just words. It's more than just words. And Nakia and her stop sign thing is so great. See, when that happens, you both agree to cease your unproductive conversation, selecting a time and setting a time to come back together and discuss the issue. And I'll give you another great little suggestion, Sue. Make your list of issues and deal with them one at a time. Make your list of issues and deal with them one at a time. When you and Corey are not communicating, and I know a lot of it has to do with scheduling, and a lot of it has to do with this, that, and the other, and what do you need me to help you do? Oh, I thought, and here's a prime example. I mean, this morning I blew up, it's like, and I feed the chickens. And he used to always feed the chicken. And he's like, well, I used to feed the chickens and then you started doing it, so why should I bother to do it? And I'm like, but I feed the chickens so the chickens don't get out, so the dogs don't eat the chickens, right? And I do. And that's why I do it, right? And so I'm throwing this up in his face like, you don't feed the chickens. And the reality is that I took on feeding the chickens because I wanted them to stay in the pen, because if there's food there, they're going to stay there. I wanted them to stay in the pen so that the dogs wouldn't chase the chickens around the yard. Well, there's a solution to that. Trimming their wings and putting up more fencing. Right? But I don't make time for that. And that's what we're talking about in this saying that you're fine. That's what we talk about, is saying that they're fine. Okay? I did. Our marriage is more time talking at each other than to each other until we learned how to communicate. Amen. Amen. And our marriage just spent more time talking at each other than to each other. And that's what happens when I start to vomit. I talk at him and not to him. And so I literally said to Carl, I said, look, give me a minute. Let me go do this. And then we're going to sit back down and talk. And we're going to do that. And we're going to go sit down and we're going to talk. And we're going to talk. And that's what we're going to do. And that's what we do. And we will get through this, because we do. Because at the end of the day, while we may not be effectively communicating 24/7, we have learned to take a step back and relearn to effectively communicate. And that's what we're going to do today. Before I do anything else, I'm going to have my coffee, cigarette, and a conversation with him. And then I'm going to get on coffee, conversation, and collaboration. And then I'm going to work, because that's what we do. Well, loving my veteran work. And if he needs help with other stuff, we're going to do that too. But we can't do it until we communicate. We can't do it until the other one says, yes, your ass really does look fat in those jeans. We can't do it if we don't say, I'm not fine. And I'm going in there and I'm going to say, I love you, but I am not fine. Because that's the truth. And when I say that I'm fine and I'm not, it creates a problem. It creates a problem. So that's what I have for y'all today. I hope everybody has a blessed day. Remember, coffee, conversation, collaboration. Sarah Kim is taking care of that today. By next week, you'll be able to get all of these videos on YouTube, because Sarah Kim is going back to that. Thank you. Thank you. Again, thank you. She's going to do that and work on some art. We have a lot of business stuff that we have to accomplish going forward. So somebody is watching me. I've known that for days, but I see you when you aren't. I'm not fine. And baby, I love you, and my ass is looking fat in these jeans. So, and again, I cannot, again, thank him for letting me share our life, because y'all know we have a screwed up life. It ought to be a new entertainment series. So, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go have a conversation with him, and I'm going to work on being fine, legitimately fine, and not vomiting at him like I just did. What else do we have? So coffee, conversation, collaboration. Stephanie tonight. Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. Let's Talk on Thursdays. Please be reminded that link will no longer work, the original link. It is now an event in the group. That is the only way you can get in, is to be a member of the group and have that link. So please utilize that. So get rid of your old one and learn the new one. Nakia, I will send it to you. Don't worry. Because I know her. Thank you, Sarah Kim. And again, Sarah Kim, thank you for all you do. You know, people don't realize that there are so many people who come behind making this work. And Sarah Kim and Sue, we everybody, we value just so much of them. But Sarah Kim really did take on a massive project when she put 200 videos on YouTube. So thank you again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a blessed day. I'm coming to have my coffee with Carl. And he's going to tell me that my ass does, in fact, look fat in those jeans. Y'all have a good day. Bye.